After I woke up from the car accident, everyone around Elias said I had changed. In the past, I was known among the elite wives of Beijing as a drama queen. I checked in on him non-stop. I went through his phone. I demanded that he answer my calls at all times and report every detail of his schedule, no matter how trivial, until the day I got into a car accident. And all I heard on the other end of the phone was Elias's disdainful voice. "Are you done making a scene?" Later, I became the model wife everyone in Beijing talked about. Docile and considerate, never speaking of love, even taking the initiative to send women to his side. Yet he was the one with reddened eyes, asking me why I had fallen out of love. Chapter 1. When I saw Elias again, I had already been lying in the hospital for a week. Because of a concussion, my head was wrapped in layer after layer of bandages. I hadn't slept well during those days in the hospital, and the swelling on my face hadn't fully gone down. So the person Elias saw was a version of me he had never seen before, barefaced and utterly disheveled. His gaze swept lazily over me, as if the woman lying in the hospital bed wasn't his wife at all, but a complete stranger. I looked at the custom-made suit he was wearing, the one I had given him, and I thought of the photo where Elias had personally draped it over Lily's shoulders. In the picture, Lily nestled intimately against him. The diamond ring that used to be on Elias's hand was gone. The moment I saw that photo, my mind went blank. In a daze, I crashed into another car. Looking at Elias now, I thought about how, in the past, I would have cried, holding that photo, demanding to know, what exactly is your relationship with Lily? But now, I suddenly understood. My love for Elias had always been one-sided. In his eyes, ours had always been nothing more than a loveless arranged marriage. Not to mention that his family was rising rapidly, and the gap between our two families was growing wider by the day. I stayed silent for a long time, perhaps noticing something off about me. Elias finally spoke. "If something happened, why didn't you call me? I only found out you were in the hospital from the house staff." "I did call. It was just that at the time, you were celebrating Lily's birthday. You told me to stop pretending and not to waste your time." Before I could respond, Lily pushed the door open and walked in, gently urging him. "Elias, it's about time. We should get going." Then, covering her mouth in feigned surprise, she said, "Alicia, how did you end up like this?" I ignored the undisguised smugness in her eyes and the sarcasm in her tone. I also ignored the fact that she and Elias were going on a business trip together. I simply pushed Elias's hand away lightly, gave him my sweetest smile, and told him not to delay his schedule. Elias seemed very satisfied with my change. Like teasing a pet, he casually patted my face. "Be good, focus on recovering, and don't make trouble with me again. Understand?" After I was discharged, I returned home, having spent half a month in the hospital. Stepping back into the house, I looked around at the home I had so carefully decorated. It felt both familiar and unfamiliar. Every piece of furniture and every arrangement had been meticulously chosen before our wedding, all according to Elias's favorite style. Back then, I had held the most beautiful expectations for marriage. Imagining our life together, I racked my brain trying to please him. In the end, all I received was Elias's light, dismissive remark. "Why waste time on something so meaningless? Do you really have nothing better to do?" After the wedding, I carefully maintained this marriage. I constantly tested Elias's feelings for me, so much so that his childhood friends often laughed at him, saying he had married a jealous shrew. Chapter 2. For a long time, I was the punchline of the elite wives circle in Beijing. Looking back now, I was too greedy. I wanted too much, both the man and his love. No wonder. In the second before I lost consciousness during the accident, I heard Lily's mocking laughter through the phone. She said I had been checking up on Elias more and more strictly lately, coming up with increasingly creative ways to do it. His childhood friends burst into hearty laughter, and Elias simply listened quietly, offering no rebuttal. I opened the wardrobe and pulled out all my clothes. I don't like black and white tones, but Elias does. So although the styles in my closet were varied, the colors were monotonously the same. Come to think of it, it was all because of Lily. Clearly, I was the one married to Elias, yet the one who accompanied him to celebration banquets, always by his side, was Lily. I hated that Lily was always around him. That day, Lily brought the evening gown she'd planned to wear to the celebration banquet to our house and changed into it so Elias could choose. For a fleeting moment, I felt dazed, as if Lily were the mistress of this home. Faced with her blatant overstepping, Elias did nothing to stop her. I kicked the gown aside, tears streaming uncontrollably. I wanted to maintain the poise Elias liked most, but I simply couldn't hold back my tears. I wiped at them desperately until my cheeks burned. Didn't you say you hated wearing gowns? Besides, the way you dress every day isn't suitable for a celebration banquet. Elias just sat there quietly, watching my ridiculous and miserable state. His eyes held confusion and pity. Lily even stepped forward and patted my back. Elias isn't refusing to take you. It's just that you've stayed at home for too long. You wouldn't be able to handle an event like that. Don't worry. There's really nothing between Elias and me. Otherwise, he wouldn't have married you. I forcefully shook off her hand and spat out. You're insane. Then I ran out. When I returned to my parents' house, I was scolded. You were the one who insisted on marrying Elias in the first place. Besides, his family is thriving now. If you don't hold tightly onto him, what's the point of running back home? Chapter 3. After the celebration banquet ended, I followed Elias home obediently. From that day on, I replaced the clothes Elias didn't like and became the proper wife he preferred. Don't like them anymore? I'll have someone come redo the whole wardrobe tomorrow. I didn't know when Elias had come back. He stood there, looking at the now empty walk-in closet, his brows slightly furrowed. I was about to refuse, but then I changed my mind. I might as well take the opportunity to squeeze a little compensation out of him, consider it what he owed me. So I wrapped my arms around Elias affectionately, stood on tiptoe, and placed a light kiss on his Adam's apple. Then I blinked up at him with wide eyes, my voice soft and coquettish. Elias understood immediately. He pulled out a card and placed it in my hand. If there's anything you want, just buy it yourself. A globally limited black card. I tightened my arms around his neck and planted a loud kiss on him. As expected of a big boss, so generous with your money. Elias's expression turned cold, though a faint smile lingered at the corner of his lips. His deep eyes fixed on me, unreadable. I don't remember ever becoming your boss. You never used to call me that. It was true. I never used to call him that. Husband, big brother, baby, endless terms of endearment, one sweeter than the last. But that was when I loved him. Thinking back, I should have noticed the irritation in his reactions every time. I was truly ridiculous. Now, making sure I got enough money out of Elias was the only thing that mattered. I tried to smooth it over with a laugh. Oh, baby, I'm just telling the truth. You are a big boss. Elias didn't seem satisfied with my answer. His face darkened further, but in the end, he said nothing. He turned and left without hesitation. What a strange man. I didn't understand what he was dissatisfied about, nor did I care to guess. Coincidentally, or perhaps not, I ran into Elias and Lily again at the mall, looking intimate as ever. The driver couldn't hide the panic on his face. My dislike for Lily had always been undisguised. Even if they were childhood sweethearts who grew up together, I felt their relationship had crossed boundaries. They could share the same hotel room on business trips, use the same set of tableware, and Lily could freely enter the study that Elias forbade me from stepping into. It felt excessive. Lily seemed more like Mrs. Elias than I was, but whenever I brought it up, Elias would say I wasn't generous enough, that I thought too much. Alicia, if you were me, between Lily and you, you'd make the same choice. After all, you're only suited to staying at home, you can't do anything right. Once, after a failed investment and a heated argument, Elias had spoken those words from the heart. I stubbornly turned my head away, hiding the humiliation on my face. Loving someone who doesn't love you is humiliating. Hearing him admit it outright makes you feel utterly powerless in the marriage. But I no longer loved Elias, so I could pretend I saw nothing. Without saying a word, I simply picked up one limited edition handbag after another. When Lily called out to me, I could even take her hand intimately, feigning surprise and exaggerated warmth. Perhaps startled by my sudden change, she paused slightly when our hands met. Then she put on the expression I knew all too well. Elias was just telling me you've been behaving very well lately. That's wonderful. I really hope your relationship stays this good. She clasped my hand back. To anyone watching, we looked like sisters with a close bond. What I hated most was that Elias would share our private matters with Lily. Whenever there was a problem in our relationship, he wouldn't come to me first, he would go to her. In the past, it always made me feel sick. Whenever I made a scene, Elias would say, "Why do you overthink everything? Lily isn't an outsider." He was always so calm that I looked like the lunatic in our marriage. But now, he could share whatever he wanted with whoever he wanted. As long as he was generous with the money. It was just that Mom called earlier, and Lily happened to overhear it. "Alicia, don't overthink it. Lily." "Alicia." I almost burst out laughing. A victorious smile appeared on Lily's face, as if she were saying, "See? Even when you're standing right here in front of him, the person closest to his heart is still me." Chapter 4. Elias. It must be hard for you to even bother explaining, but what does that have to do with me? I took the initiative to hold Elias's hand and pressed it against my cheek, blinking up at him with watery eyes. "Honey, I just saw a jewelry set. I like it so much." The next second, my phone showed a deposit notification. All I cared about was whether I could take that jewelry set with me in the divorce. When we left, Elias, rare for him, didn't see Lily off. Instead, he got into the car with me. My lawyer best friend, Elena, sent a message. "I've drafted the agreement, but are you really going to divorce Elias?" I didn't hesitate. Yes. At the thought of walking away with a considerable portion of Elias's fortune, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. From the corner of my eye, I noticed Elias looking at me. I almost forgot he was sitting right beside me. "See something funny online?" Elias reached for my phone. Calmly, I locked the screen. The air pressure in the car seemed to drop instantly, silently placing the phone aside. I wrapped my arms around Elias and whined sweetly. "Oh, please. What could I possibly be watching? Just those meaningless videos. Didn't you always hate it when I watched that stuff?" Every time I shared something before, Elias would criticize me mercilessly. "Alicia, your taste is so low. Learn from Lily." Elias pinched my chin, forcing my face upward. His probing gaze lingered on me. "Alicia, you haven't sent me a single message lately. I almost thought you stopped using your phone." "Why?" In the past, I used to send him dozens of messages a day. Whenever I heard something interesting, I would share it with him immediately. Like how I got new nail art today, or how one of the wives told me her husband had several mistresses, or how cute Garfield was and whether I could get one. The first person I ever wanted to share anything with was always him. Unfortunately, Elias rarely replied, and when he did, it was usually, "Alicia, can you stop being so boring? Don't you have any friends?" I removed his hand and kissed him lightly on the face. "What are you talking about? Honey? Of course I'm listening to you, cutting down on meaningless things." I paused. "Besides, you're so busy every day. If I kept checking up on you all the time, what if my baby got exhausted? I just don't love you anymore, Elias. Only when I loved you did I want to share everything with you. Only when I loved you deeply was I afraid of losing you." Elias pulled me tightly into his arms, so tight it almost hurt. Just as I was about to push him away, his muffled voice came from above. "It's not meaningless. I like watching them." I didn't respond, pretending I hadn't heard. Elias kissed my forehead. "One message. 10,000. No upper limit. Elias, you better not regret that." From that day on, Elias replied seriously to every single message I sent him. Sometimes, when I really couldn't think of anything to say, I would just snap a random photo and send it without even looking. Elias replied, "Very artistic." When I opened it myself, I realized that because I had taken it so carelessly, the image wasn't even in focus, just a blurry mess. Chapter 5. He can even praise that? What on earth is Elias thinking? I had just put down my phone when the notification sound rang again. "I had a few outfits delivered to the house today. There's a banquet on Sunday. Come with me." A banquet? Elias had never taken me before. People are strange. Back then, I tried so hard to get Elias to bring me along. Now that he says he wants me to go, I've completely lost interest. Since I'm planning to divorce him, it's better to start distancing myself sooner rather than later. When Elias came home and had just opened the door, I ran over and jumped onto him like a koala, with one hand holding me up. He changed his shoes just like that. Elias kissed me and gently set me down on the sofa. There was a smile in his eyes, tenderness lingering between his brows. I used to love the way Elias looked when he smiled, so soft, so gentle, but he rarely smiled at me. Every night I sat at the dining table waiting until late. When Elias finally came home, he always wore an icy expression. He never asked whether I had eaten, just a casual line, had a business dinner. Forgot to tell you, but Elias, do you know? I knew everything. Every post Lily shared on her social media. I could see your presence in it. Skiing with her, doing handicrafts, having dinner. Every night I waited until midnight. Every phone call. When you told me you were working, while looking at Lily beside you, did you ever think of me? Every late night, I used to dream that Elias would come home and hold me, say he was sorry, say he would never do it again. But when I woke up, the face beside me was still cold and distant. Now, Elias is so close to me. The scene overlaps with my old dreams, yet not a single ripple stirs in my heart anymore. Elias cupped my face, about to kiss me. I moved first, brushing a light kiss across his cheek. Honey, I have something to do on the night of the banquet. I glanced at his expression before continuing. I really wanted to go. What a pity, otherwise. I didn't finish the sentence. We both understood perfectly who the unspoken name was. Elias's expression gradually turned cold. He released me and straightened up. Bang! Ceramic hit the floor, making a crisp, shattering sound. Elias's face darkened as his gaze swept over the neatly arranged dresses that hadn't been touched. He grabbed my chin with force, making me look at him. Alicia, what exactly are you sulking about? Are you still angry about that car accident? Chapter 6. I didn't say a word. Elias is very good at saying things that stab straight into my heart, especially when he's angry. Elias once promised he would come home to celebrate my birthday with me and taste the cake I baked myself. But he hadn't even been home 10 minutes before Lily called. All he left me with was, Lily needs me. The birthday dinner I had prepared a week in advance became a meal for one. When I threw a fit and said I wanted to move out, Elias stood there and sneered. Move out? Alicia, where do you think you can go without me? Do you think your family would even agree? I was so furious that I hurled the suitcase at him. Elias only looked at me coldly. Alicia, I shouldn't have to remind you of your current situation. Without me, you're nothing. That moment, how ridiculous and humiliated I looked, I will never forget it. So I don't argue with Elias anymore. Aside from humiliation, I gain nothing. The only response I give him is long silence. Elias cupped my face. The anger in his eyes faded, replaced by a trace of panic. Why haven't you checked up on me once lately? Alicia, why are you always distracted when you're with me? Why did everything change after your car accident? You weren't like this before. I sighed silently. I'm so tired. Too tired to keep pretending. Too tired to even sacrifice the last shred of my pathetic self-respect just for money. I smiled. Elias, what's the point? Do you love me? Do you even need my concern? I closed my eyes, unwilling to look at him. You're just not used to someone suddenly not caring about you anymore. Stop pretending. Elias silenced me with his own lips. When I woke up, everything seemed the same as before, as if nothing had happened last night. I wasn't lying to Elias. On the night of the banquet, I really did have plans. I had submitted my resume to an overseas design company. After a series of twists and turns, it somehow ended up in the hands of my senior from graduate school, Victor. By coincidence, he had just returned to the country on a business trip, and we arranged to meet. Everything went smoothly. Once the divorce was settled, I could start the job and even settle abroad. What surprised me was running into Lily at the restaurant. We tacitly pretended not to see each other. On the way home, Victor glanced at me several times, sounding half-joking. Not very happy lately? The sudden question caught me off guard. He pointed at my ring finger. Your ring is gone. Only then did I realize the ring that should have been resting quietly on my finger was missing. I couldn't remember whether I had dropped it somewhere or simply forgotten to wear it when I left home. I gently rubbed my ring finger, because I had worn it for so long without taking it off. A faint mark remained, Elias wore that wedding ring for only one day, saying it meant nothing, but I never took mine off. I treasured it carefully, and now I had somehow lost it in a daze. I let out a soft laugh. No, it's just time for a new one. When I got home, the house was brightly lit. Elias came home unusually early today. A flicker of guilt rose in me as I quietly closed the door. Who did you go see today? I didn't know when Elias had appeared behind me. With the light behind him, I couldn't see his expression clearly. Who did you go see? He stepped closer, and only then did I notice his eyes were rimmed red. I didn't see anyone. What's wrong, honey? Elias shook off my hand and gripped my shoulders, forcing me to look at him. Alicia, do you even have a heart? You refused to attend the banquet with me just to see Victor. Do you know how I felt when I saw those photos? He clutched my shoulders tightly, his face showing a rare loss of control. Every word was an accusation, like a resentful husband. I pressed his phone down gently and explained softly. Elias, calm down. We just had a meal. Elias grabbed my hand, his expression laced with mockery. Just friends? Then why did you take off your wedding ring to see him? Alicia, is our relationship so shameful? What am I to you? Looking at Elias's hysterical expression, for a moment it felt as though our roles had reversed. Elias leaned in to kiss me. I turned my head away. Chapter 7. I suppressed the displeasure in my heart, but Elias's words ignited the anger I had buried deep inside. Alicia, do you even realize you're married? What is this supposed to mean? Are you trying to rekindle something with Victor? I shoved Elias away with all my strength and slapped him hard across the face. His cheek quickly swelled. I looked at him as if he were the mad one. Once upon a time, I had questioned him the same way. Elias, you said it yourself, there's nothing wrong with two ordinary friends having a meal together. Back when Elias would leave me behind to find Lily, he had said it with his own mouth. Alicia, when will you stop being so sensitive? Lily is my friend. Isn't it normal to have a meal together? And now, I had only shared a meal. Why is it acceptable when you dine with Lily and act intimate? But when I do the same, it's unacceptable? You're the one who said not to be so sensitive. The fury in Elias's eyes slowly faded. I'm sorry, I didn't care about your feelings before. I won't ever do that again. Elias's voice gradually choked with emotion. The hand he reached out to me was slapped away. I didn't know you used to feel that miserable. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Can you go back to being the way you were before? Everything before was my fault. Our foreheads pressed tightly together. His tears fell onto my face, cold and piercing. Why don't you call me anymore? Why don't you send me messages first? Do you know you haven't cooked dinner for me in so long? Alicia, can you love me the way you used to? I had never seen Elias like this. For a brief second, I truly wanted to hug him back. His embrace was warm, so warm that I almost lost my senses. But every word he said reminded me of how humble, how humiliated I once was. Doesn't he see every post Lily shares on her social media? Doesn't he know how people talk about me outside? I don't believe he doesn't know. He simply believed I would never leave. Love is a strange thing. It can reverse people's roles completely. So Elias knew all along. He just relied on the fact that I loved him, and took that love for granted, wearing it down recklessly. But my love is limited to the point that it cannot carry me blindly through an entire lifetime. After that day, Elias never mentioned Lily again, for the first time ever. He even called me proactively during business dinners, asking me to check up on him. That night, I no longer heard his childhood friends teasing in the background. Elias acted like a little dog eager for praise, seeking my approval. Unfortunately, he forgot. The current me no longer needs any of this. He barely managed to hold himself upright for a few days before reverting to his old self. With my onboarding date approaching, the divorce must be put on the agenda as soon as possible. Chapter 8. The person who arrived before Elias was his mother. Just as I expected, Lily had exaggerated my meeting with Victor and reported it to my mother-in-law. I secretly guessed she wouldn't have anything pleasant to say. In her heart, the ideal daughter-in-law had always been Lily. If not for the trouble Lily's family later encountered, the one who married Elias would have been her. I prepared myself for confrontation. Unexpectedly, she asked about my college major. I remember you studied jewelry design in both your undergraduate and graduate years. I nodded, understanding instantly. The resume I had submitted had apparently found its way into her hands. I wasn't surprised, given their family's current status. Nothing would shock me. You've been married to Elias for 2 years now. To be honest, I've never been optimistic about your marriage. She smiled warmly, but her words were as sharp as ever. I lifted my coffee cup, waiting for her to continue. But recently I've realized Elias is more dependent on you than I imagined. In fact, I have to admit, in every respect, you are more suitable than anyone to be his wife. I froze for a moment, unable to react. She handed me a property transfer agreement. I know you've suffered a lot these past 2 years. I also have a general idea of what you're planning, but I do not agree to your divorce. You can take this money and do whatever you want. As always. She left before I could respond. I let out a bitter laugh inside. What kind of melodramatic plot is this? Now that I've stopped loving him, the domineering mother-in-law throws money at me? Not divorcing would indeed be the safest and most advantageous choice for me. But to continue this marriage, I am too tired. Too tired. Do I truly not love Elias anymore? I'm not sure. After all, my feelings for him accompanied my entire youth. Even knowing he might not love me, I still rushed into marriage with reckless passion, and ended up wounded all over. Only then did I wake up. For Elias, I gave up too much. The family inheritance, my career, my dreams. Thankfully, it's not too late. When I handed the divorce agreement to Elias, he didn't take it. He simply sat there expressionless, his whole being collapsing little by little. Elias didn't sign. He told me, "You can't just stop loving me halfway. You can't leave me here alone." By the end, his voice was trembling. "Alicia, you can't be this heartless." I shook my head. "Elias, you're just not used to it yet, but you will be." Elias lifted his head. His eyes reddened, a madness I had never seen flashing in them. "If you leave me, then your family will disappear from Beijing just like Lily's family did." Chapter 9. I suddenly realized. Back then, I was still overseas. Rumors had already spread in our social circle about a marriage alliance between their two families. It was just that Lily's family was later investigated for serious tax issues. Their funds were frozen, and more financial scandals followed. Even Elias's family stepping in couldn't save the situation. That was why Elias's engagement could be postponed, just in time for me to graduate and return to the country. At the time, I had even felt lucky, thinking everything was such a coincidence. Yes, how could everything possibly be such a coincidence? Elias, you lunatic. You're insane. Elias! I was furious. Elias stood up, grabbed my hand, and made a motion as if to slap himself with it. I couldn't pull free. His face pressed tightly against my palm. "Want to hit me, wife? You can hit me however you like." His voice was dark, yet there was a smile on his face. "I can give you everything. My money, my shares, your inheritance, anything except the divorce agreement." Using my hand, Elias wiped away the tears at the corner of his eyes. "I'm begging you, don't leave me. You can't." Elias transferred the assets under his name to me. After I went to France, he called me almost once every hour. Only after our roles reversed did I realize how annoying my constant check-ins must have been before. In less than a week, Elias also arrived in France, working during the day, and at night, being tormented by Elias. Childishly, he insisted on leaving marks on my neck and driving me to the entrance of my company every morning. If we happened to run into Victor, he wouldn't leave until Victor had entered the building. I truly couldn't understand such immature behavior. Elias said Victor had ulterior motives and told me to stay away from him. These were scenes I once dreamed of, but now, my eyes no longer held only Elias, no longer only love. I knew Elias had been on edge these past days. Sometimes, even if I had only been out for 10 minutes, he would call to confirm where I was. I was just busy. I wasn't leaving him. Am I already too late in doing all this? Elias suddenly seemed much more haggard. The dark circles under his eyes told me he hadn't been sleeping well at all. Yet strangely, seeing him like this stirred nothing in me. One day, looking at his worn-down appearance, I suddenly understood. The opposite of love is not hatred. It is indifference. Elias knelt on one knee before me, carefully placing a new ring on my finger. No matter whether it's too late or not, I hope the owner of this ring will always be you. I forced a perfunctory smile. Too late, Elias. My heart no longer beats for you. The day before the divorce cooling-off period was about to end, Elias drove me to the airport. Chapter 10. Elias didn't say a single word, but when we left the house, there was a trace of hope in the way he looked at me. So the moment I got into the car, I pretended to sleep. I just wanted to wake up at the airport, finish the procedures, then fly back to France. After all, I had only taken 3 days off. Just as I was drifting into drowsiness, the car suddenly jolted violently. I opened my eyes and saw a vehicle out of control hurtling straight toward us. Alicia. Elias's voice sounded almost desperate. Then came the deafening crash. Before I could react, the airbag's force slammed into me, knocking me unconscious. When I woke up again, the piercing wail of sirens rang in my ears. Elias was gripping my hand tightly. There wasn't a trace of panic in his eyes. Only then did I see clearly he had taken the full impact on his side. His body was wedged tightly between the seat and the steering wheel. I tried to reach for him, but all I touched was blood. So much blood. Elias's blood seemed as if it would drain out completely. His face had already lost all color. The emotions I had suppressed for days finally broke through at that moment. I cried out uncontrollably, unable to tell whether my terror came from the thought of losing Elias, or from the tragic ending of this marriage. Elias tried to lift my hand. I stopped him. I shook my head desperately. Don't move anymore. Elias, please don't move. Alicia, don't leave me. I was on the verge of collapse. Nodding frantically, the paramedics quickly pulled me out. Before losing consciousness again, I saw Elias being carried onto an ambulance. When I woke once more, only medical staff were around me. I grabbed one of them, speaking in my not-so-fluent French. After rambling for a long time, I still couldn't understand what had happened to Elias. Thinking of that hand covered in blood, I broke down completely, sobbing uncontrollably. I could only repeat Elias's name over and over. The nurse helped me up, speaking rapidly in French. I didn't know how to explain this absurd marriage, nor how to find out where Elias was. And in that very moment, I realized I probably still loved Elias, in a place I hadn't even been aware of. The next second, Elias was wheeled in, his body wrapped in bandages, yet his gaze remained unwavering as he looked at me. Perhaps Elias was right. We were destined to be entangled for a lifetime. Chapter 11. Elias's POV. In the end, Alicia and I didn't get divorced. The scheduled date was interrupted by the accident. We missed it, and could only wait for the next 30-day period. Every time Alicia brought up the paperwork, I would say I was in pain. Alicia had no choice but to drop it. Later, she never mentioned it again. Every night, I could finally stop living in fear that Alicia would leave me. She no longer talked about divorce. She was just busy every day, so busy she didn't even have time to reply to my messages. I keep wondering what Alicia must have felt back then. Did the endless waiting slowly grind away her love for me? I don't dare think too deeply, because then I'd have to remember what I was doing at the time. Victor sometimes drives Alicia home. Every time I see him, I feel sick. Alicia doesn't think there's anything wrong. She says she and Victor are just ordinary friends now. But I can tell Victor clearly doesn't see her as just a friend. Whenever I bring it up, Alicia falls silent. She'll say, "Elias, can you stop making a scene?" The words sound painfully familiar. One night, I suddenly remembered I used to say the exact same thing to her. Every time that realization hits me, my heart starts racing with panic. I look at Alicia sleeping beside me. She seems to have changed a lot. And yet, she seems unchanged. She still smiles easily. She still likes the same food. She even takes the initiative to message me, just rarely shares her life with me anymore. Alicia still wears her wedding ring every day. On the surface, everything looks the same as before. But I know, Alicia doesn't love me anymore. Or rather, she doesn't love me the way she used to. Whenever she smiles at me, I search her eyes. In Alicia's eyes, the wholehearted devotion I once knew is gone. And so is that intense, unwavering love.